Hello? Tap, tap, tap. Is this thing on? Whoosh, whoosh. Hello, friends and neighbors. Stevie Coyle here at Mighty Fine Guitars in Lafayette, California with the Friday noontime webcast. Dry your tears. It's only 5 after. Noontime being a relative term. Got a Klein guitar to show you today. Here it is. Use that. There we go. It's prettier without the tuner up there. And it's really pretty. Isn't it unusual and compelling? You graphic artists and artists out there will see the golden mean all over this, the golden proportion. Very Nautilus shell, very Fibonacci series. And that's I've just hit the top of my vocabulary right there. Klein and Kauffman. Designed by, let me make sure that things are happening here. Come on in there. Have we got picture? We do. Excellent. Picture and audio, I assume. 4 of you already. Thanks for coming in. Steve Klein designed this guitar a zillion years ago. They've been around since the 80s. And but Steve Kauffman built all but the first 20, and there's nearly 200 of them been built since then. It's a whole different thing. It's not your grandpa's Martin. It's not a Gibson. It's not Ish at all. It's not Martin-ish or Gibson-ish or whole different overtone stack. Particularly, I must say, kind of leaning towards the finger styler, kind of appealing to the finger styler. It saturates very nicely for strumming and whatnot, but that intense articulation of every note, that very pianistic, piano-like quality, is really compelling. Isn't it a beaut, Pat? How are you? Hey, Jimmy. Sounds good. Okay, great. You knew what I was going to ask. Thank you, Espo. Terrific. Go Broncos. Wow. Now, this is a big-ish guitar. It's but it's not the biggest by far. This is the small Klein. Tell you a little bit about Klein. You know, if somebody can find a video that I saw years ago, I don't think it's on YouTube because I've looked for it, but it was of Joni Mitchell doing kind of a promo for Klein because she was a big Klein fan. And she talks about Klein and how she loves it, and she's playing a little something, and then it shuts down, and they say, okay, cut. Director calls cut. And this is kind of the making of video that we're watching. He says, cut, and while they're packing up, and somebody off camera says, hey, Joni, what was that last chord you played? And she said, oh, this one? And he said, yeah, that one. She said, oh, that was the chord of longing. And a hush fell over the room. That's how she thought a chord. She had no idea what the letter or the number of her chord was. She just knew it was the chord of longing. But she really liked that just kind of wild, insane overtone stack that these guitars have. Telling you about the sizes. This is the little guy, if you can believe it. This is millimeters wise. This across the lower belt, which is plenty wide, is 396 millimeters. The medium-sized guitar is 426 millimeters, and the big guy is a 457. There's another Klein in the shop that maybe I'll show you next week. Although I may have done a video on that Klein. If I haven't, I'll do one on that one next week. This thing is radical in so many ways, not least of which is on the inside. I wish I could show you. Instead of your kind of standard X brace, this looks like the Cathedral of Notre Dame in there. There's flying buttresses and carbon fiber wings, and it's just intensely radical, but all scientifically flung together. According to Kasha principles, Kasha is not just the name of a great granola. It's this guy, this acoustician, who built mostly classical guitars to very scientific principles, using shake tables and risotto and oscilloscopes and scientific stuff. Instead of just going with the tried and true X brace for the top, He got real scientific about it and did lots of experimentation and decided that what you really need to do if you want intense articulation, the bass side of the bridge needs to be bigger than the treble side. You can even split it in the middle. Are you seeing this? Let me check my monitor here. Yeah. And you don't penetrate the top for bridge pins to go in. You build these little standoffs and loop the end of the string around those standoffs. Furthermore, at the bridge where sound gets generated, this is where your speaker gets activated. Your big speaker here gets activated in the middle. Individual saddles, individually adjustable saddles. Whew. It's wild. This guitar, okay, well, let's continue with that idea. Saddles run up to a 0 fret. Now this little action up here, I suppose you could call it a nut, but it's really just a string guide. The string terminates at the 0 fret, which for alternate tunings at which these excel. You get a couple of Ds, couple 3 Ds going, drop things down to C. You've got open fourths and fifths happening. The guitar just lights up. I'll do that for you in a little bit. But when you terminate the string at a fret, especially if it's a nice hard fret, stainless steel, you can tune like crazy up and down, and that low string with the big windings on it is not going to grind out the way it does on a standard guitar with even a bone nut. It's not going to grind out a different place or different depth over time for the termination of that string. A 0 fret, I remember years ago, I had a Clyra guitar, K-L-I-R-A. Danny Ide, are you there? You had a Clyra guitar too. As I recall, it had a 0 fret as well. And a 0 fret used to be the hallmark, at least it was in my mind, of kind of an inexpensive German guitar made in the 50s or 60s. You know, kind of mass-produced. I'm told there was even a whole valley in Germany somewhere that featured these 0-fretted guitars. There's a very famous picture of Elvis in his dress fatigues playing one, sitting on his bunk, on his cot. Sorry, I'm getting enchanted by the overtones here. Tremendous sustain. Wow. I don't know if you're hearing that. I'm feeling it. My innards, my gizzards are vibrating like crazy just from holding this guitar against me. That is just compelling. But back to the structure of the guitar, shall we? Let's. The string terminates at the 0 fret. This little action up here, this little abalone bit up here, becomes just a string guide to get the strings up to the tuners. And notice the really steep angle. It's almost like a lute. So this gives you kind of the advantage of slotted head guitars with that really steep break angle. It exerts more pressure on the top, but being able to use a paddle style construction. It's wild. You got to come play it. And the other one in the case over there. I'll show you that next week, one way or the other. Interesting to hear even those sour overtones stack up against each other. It's real different. Sorry, I'm getting carried away here. See who's here. Hi there. Hi, Sue Ellen. Hey, Michael. Andy Roth, excellent. Bruce, nice to see you. All right. And of course, folks, always feel free to invite you to use the little share button there to send folks over to this either live or later on. These live on Facebook for a month. They used to live up there forever, but they lived there for a month. But pretty swiftly, usually this very afternoon, I'll send this over to YouTube. Stevie Coyle Music, all one term, is the channel name over there at YouTube where all of these videos live. In perpetuity, I think. How's that go? I really ought to finish that. That's a little idea I've had lurking around for a long time. Espo says, does the fingerboard float above the body? It does not. It sits right down on there. But while I'm holding the guitar like this, check out how little that heel is. It's a bolt-on neck, and the heel gets that small, so there's really great access up here. You're not bumping into a pointy thing jabbing you in the palm if you're way up here in the meedly notes. So glad you asked. Brazilian rosewood back inside. It's primo Brazilian rosewood from a long time ago from Steve's personal stash. It's one of the last pieces of Brazilian rosewood that he's had for the last 40 plus years that's big enough to do a full-size Klein guitar like this. Lovely holly binding. Very whitish. God, it's a gorgeous thing. And you know what Steve's been doing? Because people like him, for the most part, is a sound port. It's not like you wouldn't hear this guitar if it didn't have a sound port, but the fact that there's some of this sound firing right up at you is pretty cool. Some singers, I understand, don't like that. It's too much guitar information kind of hitting them in the face, but since I sing occasionally, and only when prompted, I only do requests when asked to. I really like a sound port myself. I'm not sure the microphone is picking it up, but you got to come in and play this just to hear the way the overtones stack up. It's so different from Martin and Gibson, but really compelling. Klein Kauffman, $396. The asking on this one is $14,500, but look at what you get. Sitka spruce top, primo Sitka, extra super primo. You don't find this is this unobtainium kind of Brazilian rosewood. Can't be had anymore, especially in widths this wide, enough to make a two-piece guitar back this big. This kind of wood just doesn't happen unless it comes out of somebody's old stash, which is exactly what happened with Steve Kauffman, who built the guitar per the design of Steve Klein years and years ago. Big fans of Klein guitars are mentioned Joni Mitchell, Leo Kottke, Stephen Stills, Jesse Colin Young. In fact, there's a whole book I've got here in the shop. Come in, I'll show you when you play the guitar. All about, fish tacos again, Klein and Kauffman guitars. Is there anything else I need to tell you about this? Yeah, that's about it right there. And this weekend, folks, here in San Francisco, in the San Francisco Bay Area, it's Hardly Strictly Bluegrass Festival weekend. Which for many folks, myself included, is kind of Christmas and your birthday all rolled into one. It's just this cornucopia of great players and great times. Kind of, I've heard it described accurately, I think, as Woodstock for adults, Woodstock for grown-ups. It's great. Lots of kind of a focus on Americana music. Don't be scared away by the bluegrass. Mention it was originally called Strictly Bluegrass, but then Emmylou Harris showed up the next year and kind of forgot that it was called Strictly Bluegrass and brought her Spy Boy band that did a lot of rock and roll and jumpin' New Orleans stuff. So he decided, he being Warren Hellman, the founder of the Feast, God rest him, he decided to call it, he said, there's no problem, we'll just call it Hardly Strictly Bluegrass in subsequent years, and they have done ever since. And I'll be playing there on Sunday morning at 11:40 on the hillside, not the hillside stage, different festival altogether and long ago, on the, what the hell is that stage called? Horseshoe Hill. Thank you very much. I got stuck on Hellman Hollow and Horseshoe Hill and the hillside stage at 11:40, and it'll be a tribute to Warren Hellman from his kids, from his 4 kids, the siblings. We'll be singing songs that they learned as kids at his knee, as it were. And I'll be there with the 4 siblings and one of the siblings' kids, and we'll be doing some backup music for them while they sing their little hearts out. And it's going to be lovely. It'll be lovely. There will be tears, Kleenex provided. So come on by at Horseshoe Hill, 11:40 on Sunday, and take a look. Hardly Strictly Bluegrass. Google it up. It's an astonishment. It's a free festival. You just got to get there. So be prepared to get there and probably pay a premium, doing Uber or Lyft or something, which is clearly the way to do it because parking in San Francisco is tough anyway. But if you can get there, a guaranteed good time. It's supposed to be warm and dry and clear and sunny, and it's just a glorious time of year. So hope to see you in the park. If I do, shout hey, and I'll shout hey back. I look forward to seeing lots of old pals there from all over the country. This is kind of a meeting of the creatures, where the creatures meet. It's a meeting of the tribes once a year. So, hey Jim, very good. All right, folks, do feel free to share this once I sign off here. Ask any questions, make any comments you like. I'll answer down below. But time to let you go. You've been very patient. You've been very tolerant. So I'll see you next week with at least a brief moment of the big Klein. This wasn't the big one, if you can believe it, of the big Klein, which is up on the website. This one will be up there later on today. Do tune in over at to all of these reviews, these demos, which stands for demonstrations, not demolition. For these demonstrations over at the Stevie Coyle Music, all one term, YouTube channel. And with that in mind, I'll see you next week. Maybe see you in the park this weekend. Down the road, everybody. Your old pal Stevie Coyle here signing out from Mighty Fine Guitars in Lafayette, California. Ta-ta. Where is it?